The Bronze Star Medal is awarded to a person in any branch of the military who, while serving in any capacity with the Armed Forces of the United States, shall have distinguished himself by heroic or meritorious achievement or service, not involving participation in aerial flight, in connection with military operations against an armed enemy. The Bronze Star Medal has been awarded to Major Clayton Wicks and Master Sergeant Timothy Adams. Working in concert as Operations Supervisor and Lead Production Superintendent, Major Wicks and Master Sergeant Adams orchestrated the generation and launch of 14 F-15E sorties, including scrambling 6 alert aircraft amid the backdrop of active air defenses detonating ballistic missiles overhead. Leading a team of 66 maintainers, Master Sergeant Adams ensured every combat-capable aircraft in the squadron made it airborne, while securing hung munitions, supervising engines running reloads, and directing non-essential personnel to bunkers. As others took shelter under alarm red conditions, Master Sergeant Adams returned to the flight line to oversee aircraft pre-takeoff and arming operations, sending 4 additional F-15Es into the fight. Likewise, Major Wicks maintained his post despite explicit warning of imminent missile impacts. He coordinated with base support personnel to ensure the airfield was clear of falling debris and safely recovered all F-15Es. I watched throughout the night. They remained cool, calm, and professional as they received an endless barrage of radio and frantic phone calls to the operations desk. While the fog of war and indecision shrouded people across the theater, these level-headed individuals paved the way forward for dude and abide flights to have the resources they needed to be successful. The exemplary leadership, personal endeavor, and devotion to duty displayed by Major Wicks and Master Sergeant Adams reflected great credit upon themselves and the United States Air Force. The Distinguished Flying Cross is awarded to any officer or enlisted person of the Armed Forces of the United States for heroism or extraordinary achievement while participating in aerial flight. Both heroism and achievement must be entirely distinctive, involving operations that are not routine. The C device was established to distinguish an award earned for exceptionally meritorious service or achievement performed while the service member was personally exposed to hostile action or under significant risk of hostile action. The V device is worn on decorations to denote valor, an act or acts of heroism by an individual above what is normally expected while engaged in direct combat with an enemy of the United States or an opposing foreign or armed force with exposure to enemy hostilities and personal risk. The Distinguished Flying Cross with Valor has been awarded to Lieutenant Colonel Curtis Culver and Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Causey. Lieutenant Colonel Culver and Lieutenant Colonel Causey crewed Dude 6-2 as the senior airborne commander in the initial phase of the attack. We didn't break formation. We didn't break our line. Drone, ID, Fox 3. That first missile we shot at low illume night, low altitude, under NVGs. It was just like Star Wars. It was just like rockets going everywhere. It was crazy. I remember that first shot and then the following volleys. It was just drone, shoot, drone, shoot, drone, shoot. Turn around, shoot more. Before you know it, we were out of missiles. The mechanics of each shot had its own idiosyncrasies. There was a beauty to it. In the moment, it was very artful as things came together. 3,000 hours of strikeable time and experiences from red flags, green flags, archers, hammers, weapon school, and other events. All of it in that one moment to create that desired end state. Within 20 minutes, they had employed all 8 of their air intercept missiles, resulting in 8 aerial kills. Recognizing the continued presence of the air threat, Dude 6-2 returned to base to refuel and rearm. Conducting a dual-engine running integrated combat turn in alarm red conditions, Dude 6-2 remained in their aircraft whilst enemy ballistic missiles and Israeli air defenses exploded overhead. They launched into the fight a second time as 2 Patriot missile volleys ascended in close proximity to the runway, ensuring mission success for the coalition. The outstanding heroism and selfless devotion to duty displayed by Lieutenant Colonel Culver and Lieutenant Colonel Causey reflected great credit upon themselves and the United States Air Force. The Distinguished Flying Cross with C device has been awarded to Captain Austin Leak, Captain Stepan Volnichev, Captain Matthew Edens, and Captain Thomas Benner. The first alert formation activated to join the coalition flight, Abide 9-1 and 9-2, crewed by Captain Leak, Captain Volnichev, Captain Edens, and Captain Benner, scrambled to counter an unprecedented aerial attack. Operating in darkness and at low altitude, Abide 9-1 and 9-2 successfully detected, intercepted, and destroyed 12 one-way attack drones. When the airborne mission commander was forced to RTB to refuel and rearm, Abide 9-1 assumed control of a 90-mile defensive lane, acting above their qualification level to do so. Despite having spent all missiles, they remained on station directing air refueling assets and coordinating the successful engagement of 11 additional drones by other airborne assets. Leaving their combat air patrol and returning to base, they safely recovered both aircraft through active base air defense fire and falling debris. One particularly large missile explosion above our formation rained down debris directly in front of us. Captain Edens and Captain Benner maneuvered their jet, dodging debris, and held in the local area while the landing situation was sorted out. Low on fuel, they accepted the risk of landing on a possibly damaged and debris-filled runway. The outstanding heroism and selfless devotion to duty displayed by Captain Leak, Captain Volnichev, Captain Edens, and Captain Benner reflected great credit upon themselves and the United States Air Force. In their 7th hour of sitting alert, Abide 9-3 and 9-4, crewed by Captain Edens, Captain Nava, Captain Abraham, and Captain Edelman, scrambled and engaged their first drone 24 minutes after wheels up. Aware that friendly aircraft forward of their position were rapidly depleting munitions, Abide 9-3 took the initiative, driving the formation forward, developing a divert and an improvised aerial refueling plan, and assumed command of the defensive lane soon after. Their tenacity paid off, successfully engaging 5 one-way attack drones. Whilst aerial refueling, Abide 9-4 detected another drone swarm low altitude and without hesitation skillfully split formation and neutralized 3 threats within 3 minutes, bringing their total to 4 and the formation to 9. Holding high as they descended to low altitudes, I saw bright flashes and smoke trails below us through my night vision goggles as a missile shot off their F-15E into the pitch-black night sky. Moments later, an explosion a few miles in front of them as their missile impacted and killed an Iranian one-way attack drone. The outstanding heroism and selfless devotion to duty displayed by Captain Edens, Captain Nava, Captain Abraham, and Captain Edelman reflected great credit upon themselves and the United States Air Force. Dude 7-1 and 7-2, crewed by Captain Cowan, Captain Diamond, Captain Sheeran, and Captain Tesh, were in the midst of engine start when alarm red sirens began. Intent on defending the base, Dude 7-1 and 7-2 rapidly taxied and armed as the skies above were illuminated by Iranian and ballistic missiles and Israeli interceptors. Executing a maximum performance climb from the runway, they navigated through active air defense artillery and falling debris. The surface-to-air engagements were so close to their aircraft on departure that the only way I could tell the difference from them and the air defense artillery was the white-blue glow of their afterburners separating from a sea of orange-red glowing surface-to-air missiles and tracers. Once at altitude, the glow of their engines extinguished and the red heartbeat of their beacons remained, only discernible from the friendly surface-to-air fire by their speed and direction. Once established in their combat air patrol, Dude 7-2 was directed by their flight lead to target and engage a drone. After successfully destroying their target, they detected another and maneuvered to engage, but refrained from shooting due to the drone's close proximity to civilian infrastructure and risk of collateral damage. They continued pursuit across international borders and handed off targeting to coalition fighters before returning to their defensive position. The outstanding heroism and selfless devotion to duty displayed by Captain Cowan, Captain Diamond, Captain Sheeran, and Captain Tesh reflected great credit upon themselves and the United States Air Force. The Silver Star is currently awarded by all branches of the armed forces to any person who, while serving in any capacity, is cited for gallantry in action against an enemy of the United States while engaged in military operations involving conflict with an opposing foreign force, or while serving with friendly forces against an opposing armed force in which the United States is not a belligerent party. Please stand for the presentation of the Silver Star Medal to Major Benjamin Coffey. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Silver Star Medal to Benjamin J. Coffey II. Major Benjamin J. Coffey II distinguished himself in gallantry in action while engaged in military operations involving conflict with an opposing foreign force as mission commander and F-15E instructor pilot 494th Expeditionary Fighter Squadron, 332nd Air Expeditionary Wing, from 13 April 2024 through 14 April 2024. During this period, Major Coffey led a coalition defensive counter-air mission to defeat an Iranian attack comprising of 300 ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and one-way unmanned aerial systems. From the cockpit of his F-15E, he battle-managed fighter aircraft from 6 nations, defending a 430 nautical mile wide lane from 170 one-way attack drones. During his first sortie, in darkness and at low altitude, he personally achieved 6 kills against a swarm of drones. Assessing a continuing onslaught of one-way drones, he coordinated with command and control to launch alert fighters. Returning to base with a hung missile, he safely landed his emergency aircraft before seeking shelter as his base entered alarm red. When informed that another F-15E was ready and available, and despite locally launched Patriot missiles detonating overhead, Major Coffey and his weapons systems officer left their bunker to commence a second sortie. Taking off with Iranian ballistic missiles and Israeli interceptors coursing through the sky, he returned to the fight, intercepting and killing 2 drones. When his missiles hung, Major Coffey attempted a strafing pass on an additional drone. Having exhausted all employment options and facing a swarm of 15 drones, he directed all airborne fighters to his position and remained on station to coordinate intercepts throughout the conclusion of the engagement. Major Coffey's intrepid leadership directly enabled the destruction of over 70 Iranian one-way attack drones by coalition aircraft and played a vital role in blunting Iran's large-scale attack against Israel, protecting coalition forces, saving countless civilian lives, and ultimately preventing a larger regional conflict. By his gallantry and devotion to duty, Major Coffey reflected great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Please remain standing for the presentation of the Silver Star Medal to the United States Air Force's first female recipient, Captain Lacey Hester. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Silver Star Medal to Lacey E. Hester. Captain Lacey E. Hester distinguished herself by gallantry in action while engaged in military operations against an opposing armed force as F-15E Instructor Weapons Systems Officer, 494th Expeditionary Fighter Squadron, 332nd Air Expeditionary Wing on 13 and 14 April 2024. On those dates, the airmanship and discipline exhibited by Captain Hester ensured the destruction of a mass attack by the government of Iran on Israel and coalition forces. As Airborne Mission Commander, Captain Hester took tactical control of a lane of 8 F-16 and F-15E aircraft while battle managing a 430 nautical mile area of responsibility. Captain Hester immediately recognized the imminent threat and without hesitation began to engage the low-altitude enemy force. In complete darkness and in severe proximity to the ground, she bravely led her foreship to achieve dozens of kills. Noticing an unprecedented swarm of enemy aircraft remaining, she coordinated for fighter alert launches to bring fresh missiles to the fight. After achieving 6 air-to-air kills, she returned to base, handling a malfunctioning live AIM-120 missile and coordinated to fly another F-15 into the ongoing air battle. Amidst the base receiving hostile fire, Captain Hester continued to demonstrate incredible bravery by leaving the safety of the bunker as the explosions of base defense launches settled overhead. Hurling herself into a sky full of air interceptors and ballistic missiles, she was airborne again within 25 minutes. Captain Hester received direction to snap south and ignore all near-border operations as she intercepted an additional mass wave of enemy low-altitude aircraft, exhausting all employment options, including strafe, to achieve 2 additional aerial kills. Met with a lack of viable weapons, she continued to coordinate for partner forces to engage the remaining threats and directed the final U.S. shootdown. Her unrelenting courage solidified a record-breaking 80 air kills, prevented a major theater war, and was lauded by the President of the United States. By her gallantry and devotion to duty, Captain Hester reflected great credit upon herself and the United States Air Force.